Hi. If you watched Skyler's video yesterday, then you know that this week's topic is coming out. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my coming out, and then I'm going to talk just a little bit of advice, and then I'm going to respond to Skyler's video a little bit. So we're going to talk first about my coming out and kind of how I view coming out. I kind of view coming out as a 3-step process, and it doesn't end, ever. So the first one is coming out to yourself. The second is coming out to family and friends. And the third is coming out every day. So coming out to yourself is just kind of a journey of self-discovery. So some people know really early, some people don't realize till later. It's just a mix of things. For myself, when I hit puberty, that's when I first knew something was different about me. My first crushes were on girls, and I didn't have crushes on boys till later on. I was raised in a really Christian conservative home, so for me, that was not okay. And so I had a lot of trouble with that when I finally had crushes on boys. I only knew there was gay and straight at that point, so I was like, phew, that's done. I don't know what that was, but I'm straight. It's all good. And of course that's not the case. In freshman year of high school, one of my friends came out to me as bi, and I asked, what's that? And after she explained it to me, I was like, in my head, I was like, shoot, that's me. And so I kind of pushed it aside and was like, nope, it can't be. And I struggled a lot for years that, it wasn't right, and then I felt really alone and depressed. It was awful. And finally, in my junior year, it was just one of those, you're thinking about stuff, and I was like, I can't hide this from myself anymore. And I came out to myself. And I really started dealing with what that meant for me and for my faith and all that, and I'll talk about that more later. But suffice to say, I came to the conclusion that there was nothing wrong with it. And my senior year of high school, I started coming out to some people that I was bi, but didn't come out till freshman year of college to my family. Really, when I came out to my mom, she basically said that no, it was wrong. And, I said, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's kind of a topic we don't discuss. It's like, if it's not there, we don't talk about it, it's not really there. It's one of those things. My dad has been much more accepting of it. When I told my dad, he was like, I still love you, and you're my daughter, and that's not going to change. And I think my stepmom's helped him deal with that a little bit. I don't really know. But yeah, he has been a lot more supportive with everything than my mom has. And I still haven't come out to a lot of family. A lot of family think they know. I just didn't ever officially say anything to them. I shocked the bejesus out of my uncle during Christmas break this year when I came out to him, but he was like, oh, it's fine. I'm just really surprised. So back to freshman year of college, that's also when I found out the term pansexual. So I just started coming out to everyone as bisexual, and then I came out to everyone again as pansexual, and so they're like, what are you doing? That was probably not very helpful at how fast that has to happen, but I still identify as pansexual, and I'm going on to my senior year of college, so obviously it wasn't a phase thing. And now I deal with coming out every day, which is what you're going to deal with your entire life as someone who's LGBTQ. And basically it happens with things that you say that people are like, wait, what? And just when you meet new people, you have to come out to them all over again. and you never know how people are going to react. I don't hide it. I think if someone is really your friend, they're going to be your friend no matter what, and they'll accept you for who you are. So with that, I'm going to go on to some advice. My first one is don't drop a bomb on someone. Make sure that you have time to talk to them about stuff when you come out to them. I did that to one of my friends, and it was a bad idea. She's fine with it all and stuff, but it was not a very nice thing to do. I personally kind of drop hints beforehand if I'm thinking of coming out to someone, or at least I used to when it was more of a secret. So that was probably helpful to some people, because like, okay, I can kind of see what you were doing there. Another thing is give your family time. I say that your family has to deal with their own coming out, and that takes some time. You know, you had time to deal with all of this and to find acceptance for yourself, so you have to give them time too. Kind of talking about a little bit with Skyler, talking about the gender, especially with pronouns and all of that. Like, this guy, at the beginning of this last semester, came out to all of us with all the gender stuff, and so it's really difficult to switch pronouns. I'll still occasionally slip a she when I'm talking about Skyler. That happens. Just give people time, especially if they're trying to get that stuff down. Pronouns are especially hard, especially if you're not normal, used to calling someone by one pronoun. So just give them time. And remember, even if your family isn't accepting of it, you can find friends who are, and your friends can become a family. I have a great family of friends, and they're a wonderful support group, and I love them all. And so I'm going to go on and just kind of respond a little bit to Skyler's video. For one, Skyler specifically asked me about coming out as pansexual, having to explain it as being frustrating. And yeah, it can be, but I also think, you know, it's not their fault they don't know, and it's not their responsibility to know. I consider it, you know, my job to kind of educate them when I come out, and it can be frustrating, but it takes me about 5 seconds to explain it, unless they're really confused by the gender stuff. The only thing with pansexual is you have to explain the orientation, and then you have to explain the gender spectrum. So that can be a little annoying, but it's part of educating people, and so I'm personally fine with it. Going on, I have a different kind of view of the whole moving around from gender around to different genders all the time and different sexualities all the time. I think that it is a journey of finding out who you are and what best fits you. So if you move around, like, no, that's not me, but this is me, like, that's one thing. But I really don't think, personal opinion, I don't think you should just run around and be like, you can say, I'm just not sure right now what I am, but I don't think you should be like, I'm this, and then I'm this, and then I'm this, because it just looks really bad in the community. I mean, it looks like we're experimenting and that we're choosing things, and it's really not the case. And as someone who's struggled a lot with it, I don't really like the look of that, personally. I think find out who you are and what works for you, and kind of just, that's who you are. You should find something that expresses who you are, even if that expression is to say that you're queer, and you're like, just umbrella term it. That's fine. I just, personally, it doesn't look good when you're just moving around all the time and people aren't going to take you seriously. The second is, I could just be the way that they said it in the video, but the way Skyler described coming out as bi, I kind of have a little issue with. I'm sorry, Skyler, I love you. But it sounds like you came out, I'm talking specifically to Skyler now, and you came out as bi because it was like a fad and it was cool. and I just disagree with that entirely. Don't come out as something just because you think it's cool to do, because it really discounts all the people who are struggling with that. And as someone who struggled a lot with her identity, and struggled a lot being bi, it's not a choice. And when you make it sound like, oh, it's, I did this because it's a fad and it sounded cool, it discounts all of the hardship that people who really identify as that go through, because it's not a choice. And it's a very difficult thing for a lot of us. And it totally ruins and discounts it when you're saying it like that. Just so many people say, especially with bisexuality, that it's fad and people are just doing it because it's cool. And it's like, no, that is a legitimate orientation. And it just continues that whole thing where people say that, and it's I really don't know what else to say there other than bi is not a fad. People really identify that way. And with that, I'm just going to close the video by saying, if you all are struggling with anything, if you're having difficulties dealing with your orientation or with coming out, feel free to ask us. We're here to help you. And that's about it. I hope you all have a wonderful day.